Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9. FM. I'm your host, in your company. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today. So today's show is going to test my mettle as a host because my guest told me moments ago that she can't make it anymore. So that means I've got 2 hours to fill. Now, luckily, I had prepared quite a number of clips for today's show. A lot of them are pretty much just sort of video with audio. But I still think that we need to see what is happening. I am calling this show today Civil Disobedience. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? My guest was supposed to be Maria Daxon, but she just informed me that she's not feeling well today, so she's not going to make it anymore. So I guess that means that you, my radio and you test today. And I want this to be sort of an open line, but not an open line, because I only want to discuss this whole topic that I had planned to discuss with Maria today of civil disobedience. And is there ever a time, or is there ever a right time to be on the wrong side of the law? We're going to talk about that today. And so let me throw the numbers early. 828-3543 is the number to call. 828-3543, the number to call. And the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543 is the number to call. So where did this whole concept of civil disobedience begin? And what exactly is civil disobedience? Well, in this very first clip, we will learn how the whole concept of civil disobedience began. Let's go to clip number 1.
In March 1845, the United States acquired a new president, James K. Polk, a forceful, aggressive political outsider, intent on strengthening his country and asserting its preeminence in front of other world powers, especially Mexico and Great Britain. Within a year of his inauguration, he had declared full-scale war on Mexico because of squabbles over the Texan border, and was soon rattling his saber at Britain over the ownership of Oregon. To complete the picture, Polk was a vigorous defender of slavery, who dismissed the arguments of abolitionists as naive and sentimental. Polk was a popular president, admired by many for his gung-ho manner, but a sizable minority of the citizenry disliked him intensely. One especially committed opponent was a writer from Massachusetts called Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau is now a canonical American literary figure, studied in every high school for his lyrical masterpiece, Walden. But there is another, more political side to Thoreau, now usually airbrushed out of his story, which came to the fore in relation to the president. Thoreau quickly realized that he was opposed to everything Polk stood for. He hated what became the Mexican-American War, instinctively siding with the losing Mexican side. He was wary of Polk's squabbles with Britain and was appalled by the administration's policy of hunting down and returning runaway slaves to their masters in the South. Thoreau's anger against his president found its impassioned expression in an essay he published in 1849, now known as Civil Disobedience. At the heart of the essay is the question of what an honest citizen should do about a president he or she wholeheartedly opposes. The prevailing view was that because Polk had won a majority, those who were against him should now fall silent. It should, it was often said, be the duty of a good citizen to fold away their objections and just respect the will of the majority. But this was precisely the point Thoreau wished to probe and upturn. He suggested that true patriots were not those who blindly followed their administration. They were those who followed their own consciences, and in particular, the principles of reason. Thoreau wished to redistribute prestige away from blinkered obedience towards independent thought. What marked out a noble citizen of the Republic, a real American, was not, in Thoreau's view, that they respectfully shut up, but that they thought for themselves every day of an administration's life. On the basis of just this kind of independent thinking, Thoreau signaled a radical opposition to Polk's term. He denounced the Mexican-American War, the repatriation of slaves, and the outlook of the government more generally. And so as to underline his opposition, Thoreau held back payment of his taxes. In July 1846, he walked into Concord, Massachusetts to get his shoes repaired and was promptly arrested and thrown into the town's jail. Thoreau saw nothing undignified about spending some time behind bars. As he wrote, "Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is a prison." All machines have their friction, Thoreau admitted, but when injustice is too great, you should let your life be a counter-friction to stop the machine. Thoreau didn't advocate the non-payment of taxes as a rule, and in fact, a well-meaning aunt soon paid his bill. The non-payment was just one example of the many non-violent ways that a democratically elected government could and should be resisted whenever its actions veer into aggression or unreason. An election may settle who the president might be, but it doesn't determine that everything the president does is right, or that one should simply do nothing until the next election. Above all, Thoreau hated political passivity. Sarcastically he wrote, "There are thousands who are, in opinion, opposed to slavery and to the war, who yet in effect do nothing to put an end to them, who, esteeming themselves children of Washington and Franklin, sit down with their hands in their pockets and say that they know not what to do, and do nothing." This would not be Thoreau's way. How does it become a man to behave towards this American government today? I answer that he cannot without disgrace be associated with it. Thoreau argued that the citizen must never just resign his conscience to the legislation and put himself at the service of some unscrupulous man in power. Thoreau mocked that most legislators, politicians, lawyers, ministers, and office holders are as likely to serve the devil, without intending it, as God. Thoreau would not be such a servant. This most American of writers knew exactly whom it was right for him to serve, his own mind and conscience.
We could learn so much from that, I think. Because, as you all are well aware, we are a very tribalistic society. We have two of the biggest gangs known to man. And they go by the colors. Either you're red or you're yellow. And then we have some other gangs coming forward, the green and all these other ones that are coming up. So the question has to come up as to whether or not there's ever a time when it is right for you to be on the wrongs, because as the saying goes, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And I really like what was said in that report about where this whole concept of civil disobedience, from where it emerged, because that man had a conviction. Thoreau had a conviction, and his conviction was, I don't care if you have president in front of your name. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm not going to stand by and pretend that what you are doing is right simply because you are the president. And the report also talked about how there were a lot of people who disagreed with what was going on, but for fear, maybe they were too, they just sat back and didn't say anything or didn't do anything about it. And the danger with that kind of attitude is that that is the perfect breeding ground for evil to exist, because as it's said, evil can only exist when good. And so does the point ever come where you have to make a decision to choose between following the law of the land or following your conscience, following your convictions? The question is often raised in church circles. If you had to, if the law of the land, if they came up with a law that went against the laws of God, what would you do? Would you still follow the law of the land? Or would you say, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. That goes against my conviction. That goes against my beliefs. I have to say, no, I'm going to be on the wrong side of the law. What would you do? That's what we're talking about here on the show today. I want to hear from you. 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. And the text line is 2543. It's the text line. Now, the reason I thought it was important to do this show, I thought Maria would be a great guest because we just saw what happened with her over the past couple of days. Obviously, she's not the only activist that has been locked up here in the Bahamas. This has been the norm as of late. It's just that her story was the freshest, she just being the latest one. But we've seen many other activists in the country who have been locked up for speaking their mind, for standing up for what they believe is right. I could list a few. The late KCX, Adrian Francis, Fontella Dean Chipman Roll. I could go on, but here in this country nowadays, you could be on the wrong side of the law, apparently, simply for standing up and saying, I don't agree with this. This is wrong. So how we let ourselves get to the place where we are there. But that's where we are in this country. That you could be locked up. In the case of Fontella, they arrested her for unlawful assembly. How you could have an unlawful assembly with one person? Assembly, you got to have at least two people. They lock up the woman for unlawful assembly for a one-woman protest. We have seen our police try to stop protesters from going to Parliament to deliver letters to their MPs. This is what is going on in this country right now. And, much of what we see happening, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world, is centered around the pandemic. And listen to our leaders and the narrative that is being put out. It's sort of like a broken record because you're hearing the same thing from all these leaders all over. It's like the same narrative. It's like they had this meeting and they decided this is the official narrative that we are going to tell our people. Don't you dare stray from this narrative. And every one of them march at that meeting. I'm just, I ain't saying a meeting actually happened, but I'm just saying it seems like they had this agreement that we're all going to come forward with this narrative, and this is the narrative that we're going to shove down the throats of our people, and this is the script we're going to follow, and this is the method of what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to get it done. And everybody toed a line or else. That's how it seems. Because much of what we see happening doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. It's not, if they want to use the pandemic as an excuse, it's not making sense, much of what we see happening from a scientific point of view. And in the absence of data to say why you came to this conclusion, that makes it even worse. So around the world now, the latest narrative is if you are not vaccinated, we are going to stop you from going into public places like restaurants, other public places that you would normally be able to go in if you're not vaccinated. Right? That's the latest narrative now. And in some countries, they're going so far as to say that you have to now present a health pass or some kind of passport or some kind of document to say that you have been vaccinated. And if you can show me that document, that you're going to gain access to all these places. And if not, then no, you can't gain access to these places. Not to say you have to present a negative test to say that you are COVID free. No. We ain't on your run. We ain't want to see your test. Yes. You need now, you are going to be excluded. Now, around the world, people are saying, okay, I jumping off of this merry-go-round because y'all just crossed the line. Y'all running out. Especially when it comes to now, they try to push the concept of vaccination on children. That's when people saying, okay, game over. Enough is enough. And around the world right now, we are starting to see civil disobedience where people in the thousands are taking to the streets and saying enough is enough. In this next clip, we are going to see, actually, let's take a break. Let's take this break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to see what is happening across Europe, where people are finally saying, I'm done with this mess. I'm done with the madness. We drawing the line in the sand right here. Enough is enough. We're going to look at the world as we continue the show today on civil disobedience. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? Let's talk about it. We'll be back after these words. For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
At Lee Air, safety is our number one priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. but it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Alive. Alive. Believe in best. And by Tropical Euros. Not just good food, it's an experience. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, talking civil disobedience. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? Our telephone line to call, 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. And the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543. Well, I haven't seen very many reports on this in the mainstream media. However, around the world, there are protesters taking to the streets saying enough is enough. Let's go to the next clip.
Tear gas and water cannon across Europe and growing anger over coronavirus restrictions. In Athens, Greek police tried to break up protests against compulsory COVID-19 vaccinations. Some in the crowd threw petrol bombs. The police responded with tear gas. The rally outside the Greek parliament was the third this month against mandatory inoculations for some workers, including healthcare and nursing staff.
This is not an anti-vaccine movement. These are people that have thought about it and want their freedom.
The mood was the same at a demonstration in Paris. There, tear gas filled the air as protesters opposed to a government virus pass faced off against riot police. This was just one of dozens of mainly peaceful rallies across the country, which brought out more than 160,000 people. The French plan requires all healthcare workers be vaccinated and for everyone else to prove their virus or vaccination status in order to enter restaurants and other cultural venues.
We need to wait a little bit before the French people can decide. I feel we're being rushed. It's only been 6 months since these vaccines were made available, and it feels like the French people are being forced with blackmail. I think a part of France is always going to be unwilling, and blackmail and threats won't work.
I think systematic vaccination is too extreme and too risky, and I'm also very shocked by the extension of this to children. I think they have nothing to gain, and we are taking too many risks to try and save our elders.
A similar proposal sparked protests in neighbouring Italy, where people chanted, "Down with the dictatorship." From August, a vaccination certificate will be needed to eat in restaurants and visit cinemas. On Thursday, the EU reported that 200 million Europeans have now been fully vaccinated, more than half of the adult population. But that figure falls short of the bloc's 70% target set for the summer. In the United Kingdom, thousands of people rallied in London against what they say is the erosion of civil liberties, after the government's track and trace app meant more than 600,000 people were told to isolate at home earlier this month. The coronavirus pandemic is far from over, and neither is the debate about how to reopen economies while keeping everybody safe and happy.
And just for the record, there are many other countries, some of which I will show you what is happening in those countries today, that the people have just taken enough already. And so the question we're asking today, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? Civil disobedience. Our telephone number to call 828-3543, 828-3543, and the text line is 828-2543, 828-2543. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Morning, Michelle. How are you doing this morning?
Great. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. Thank God for life. I only can listen to you on the radio, Michelle. Boy, the signal is still bad though.
Yeah, they're working on it.
I trust that happens soon because I want to hear you loud and clear on the radio, just like I'm hearing the other stations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Michelle, you have a very, very, very thought-provoking and sobering question there. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? What comes to me, I don't know if you have a paper about.
Not in front of me. No.
Right. Well, First Timothy, and I can't quote it, but First Timothy chapter 1, I think between verses 8 and 12, God puts out a number of things that law, the righteous law, is supposed to be, and who are supposed to be punished if they break righteous law. So when you ask that question, if it's ever right to be on the wrong side of the law, my response would be, if there's ever such a thing as the wrong side of the law, then the law isn't right. Michelle, no government has the right, none, I don't care what planet they are, what country they are in.
Mm-hmm.
No government has the right to violate the civil rights and the will of the people, such as we are, give by their vote the lawmakers or the government leaders the authority, the moral authority to rule. When the people say enough is enough, that government should listen, because they didn't put themselves in power to rule.
Mm-hmm.
The people put them there.
Right.
So in the case, I only heard that last clip, but in the case where people are protesting against now the tyranny that's arising by governments against their own people,
Mm-hmm.
in my humble opinion, the people are right and the government is wrong, Michelle. Because when you find that your civil liberties are being oppressed, are being repressed, you're being victimized for speaking out against what is wrong, then it shows me that the government has lost its moral authority to rule. It's out of power, but to be removed out of power. I mean, we in the Bahamas have seen it over our history, when the Bremer Road riots happened in 1942, when laborers rebelled against unfair wages. The question would be asked, was it right for them to rebel against the government back then? I would say yes, because what the government was doing was wrong. The strike in 1958, I think, the general strike, when Bahamians in mass basically shut this country down, because of unfair treatment that was based on racism. I would dare say that the people who rebelled against government were right, because government was wrong for doing those unfair and ungodly things. All one has to do, Michelle, is look at that passage in Timothy, and they will see how governments are supposed to operate. And when governments go contrary to those guidelines and principles that God established, government is wrong. So yes, in my humble opinion, there are times when it is right to be on the wrong side of the law. Thank you for your time.
JT, before you go, I'm sure you are old enough to remember
Mm-hmm.
South African apartheid. Do you remember that?
Yes.
For those young people out there who don't know what we're talking about, there was a time in South Africa where black people were really fifth-class citizens in that country, where they had no rights. I mean, they were, I mean, terribly oppressed.
There were no class, as a matter of
No
fact.
class citizens in their own country. Nelson Mandela was jailed for what? How many years?
25 years.
25 years. He was jailed simply for speaking out against injustice. They threw the man in jail and throw away the key. That's all he against injustice. And then when finally the people started to uprise, I remember scenes of police actually shooting and killing protesters who dared to stand up against what was wrong in their country, because the country was being run by the white, wealthy.
The white minority.
The white minority wealthy. And they had no intentions of giving up that privilege. As I often say, people don't just give up privilege. and I remember during the period of resistance, when they were slaughtering protesters, I remember, I won't call a person's name, but I remember we were having a discussion about this in the newsroom that I was working in at the time at ZNS. And this particular reporter said, "Why don't they just stay inside?" And I said to her, "Do you realize what these people are fighting for? Why don't they just stay inside? How will they ever be free if they do not stand up against?"
Exactly.
Many lives were lost, but eventually the world had to do something.
Yeah, the world took notice, and today apartheid, as it was practiced back then, is gone.
Gone.
Nelson Mandela lived long enough to have been the prime minister or the president of the very country that took away his freedom.
Yes.
All because of his commitment to what he believed in, and he was right, Michelle. He stood up for human dignity. The South African racist regime at the time, they were wrong.
Very much so.
You know, Michelle, the simplicity of the matter is you have evil and you have good. God is the author of goodness and righteousness. The devil, Satan, is the author of wickedness and unrighteousness. And anytime you see wickedness raising its head, whenever you see righteousness raising its head in government, that means government is right. And when people like us in the Bahamas today, far too many of us don't understand anymore, because for one, it was never taught in our school system, so we don't have the intellectual appreciation of our history. Neither do we have the experiential appreciation of our history, because we Bahamians of today have not gone through the struggles that our parents and grandparents went through. See, I don't like, and I'm saying this respectfully to make a point, I don't like the PLP. But Michelle, I can understand why Bahamians of that era loved and supported the PLP.
Because they lived under the era when we were, as a people, being oppressed.
Yes.
And so Lyndon represented freedom from that oppression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, we were suffering apartheid, you know.
We were.
You had the white minority, which was wealthy, doing the same thing to us in the Bahamas as what was being done inside, a little more subtly over here, but it was still the same wrong. So today in the Bahamas, if you ask me, Michelle, I think if the Bahamians had the appreciation for what it means to be right, to be a righteous people, and I didn't say religious now, folks, I said righteous. If we had an appreciation for what that meant, to stand up for your right based on God's principles, right now Bahamians would have had civil disobedience all over this country. Because what is going on today, when Patelco was being sold, for example, that may have been an orchestrated demonstration on Bay Street. But nonetheless, the basis of it, in my opinion, was the right basis. What was being done by the government of the day back then to sell Patelco was wrong. The people said, nope, we don't want our thing sold, but the government did it anyway. So the people on principle, I want the demonstration. We need more of that in this country. And if we don't, who said it? If you're not willing to fight for if you're not willing to fight for something, you would end up losing it. Something I can't remember.
If you're not willing to stand and fight for this country, you don't deserve to have it.
Oh yes, I think that would have been Sir Lyndon's a quote years ago. Now I don't quite agree with the absoluteness of that statement, but what I'll tell you, Michelle, is if we don't fight for it, we could end up losing that which we do value and that which we do have, because nothing on this planet has been experienced without sacrifice or fight. It may have been a subtle fight. And see, when I use the word fight, some people might think radical, but no, I am not. I may think violence. No, I'm not talking about being violent.
Right.
I am talking about agitating, protesting based on our constitutional right to the freedom of assembly, and going out there. Yes, we have it, but it's not being respected, obviously.
Fontella Dean Chipman Roll was arrested for unlawful assembly as a one-woman demonstrator.
I didn't hear about that one, honestly. When did that happen, Michelle?
This happened a couple of years ago. She went on Bay Street. I don't even know if she had a placard, but I remember she went downtown. She was protesting in front of the House of Assembly in that vicinity. And they arrested that woman for unlawful assembly. Just her one. This is what is going on in this country.
First of all, how could one person be assembling?
Exactly.
I thought you needed...
Exactly. It is so ridiculous. And yet people will stand by and justify that because of their political affiliation.
Exactly. And see, politics in this country is killing. The way we practice politics, it is killing die hard, whatever. They will die to support the wrong that their political party is doing. And by extension, the whole country ends up suffering. Fontella Chipman, she was right in standing up and doing, and the police was wrong for arresting that woman. If she was not breaking up the place, which she wasn't doing, if she wasn't causing a safety hazard, which I understand she wasn't doing.
She was not. She was standing here expressing her opinion, and for that she got arrested.
But they had no right to arrest her. So see, government was wrong. Police was wrong, spiritually and morally wrong. They were wrong.
And to me, the most egregious thing of all of this is how people will justify that because of their political affiliation. To me, that is more dangerous than the police actually thinking they had a right to arrest that woman.
Michelle, people who would support wrong like that, they have sold their souls to their party. They are some of the most dangerous people on this planet. Because, you remember saying years ago, if somebody likes you, they will lie for you. Somebody don't like you, they'll lie on you. People in politics who will support their party when they're wrong, if their party is wrong, they will support them no matter what. If their party is right and you come out, if their party is wrong and you speak out against it, they will try to make you look.
They attack
like
you.
Yeah, like you are the one who's wrong. Mind you, Michelle, they could see the wrong, but the Bible will tell you the love of money is the root of all evil. The question is to be asked then, what have they gotten or have been promised to get from their party as to why they're supporting their party when their party is obviously wrong? Or are they that much of a passionate partyism that they cannot see the wrongs that their party is doing, whether they're getting monies from the party or not? Michelle, the Bahamas is at a point now where, and I heard only a little of Adrian's show this morning, that in order for this country to heal and grow, both the FNM and the PLP truly have to go, Michelle. If we, the Bahamian people, want a better way, we have got to choose a different way. You cannot put the same old style of government back in the seat of government and expect for the Bahamas to become a better nation. The Bible says you can't put old wine in new wineskin.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, getting back to your question, I'll end on this. Yes, there are times when it is right to be on the wrong side of the law, because if the law is wrong, truly, the law is not right if it's going to repress people's freedoms. The law is not right. So when the government is doing those things that are contrary to God and are in favor of Satan, because that's what is happening when people are doing wrong, then, Michelle, you and I, who have a consciousness of right living, of the right way to do things morally before God, we must stand up and be counted. We must protest. Some of us must be willing to die.
Child, you just lost plenty of people with that one.
Oh, Lord. But see,
thanks so much for calling, JT.
God
Appreciate
bless you.
Appreciate
Right.
you. All right.
Sure.
Let me read a couple of your comments. This one is from Romel. Romel says, we have to follow the law of the land, but when the law of the land dictates wrong, we have no choice but to overthrow the wicked. Bertha says, how come Menace didn't get locked up when he tore down a whole fence, but he locking up people for protesting peacefully? Jamila says, the laws are created by the people. Therefore, when the people are treated, protest against the unjust treatment. Let's see what else we've got here. I went too far down. Let me scroll back up. How do I get way down here? Okay, let me remove this comment. Okay, so Romel, let's see, did it come up? Okay, Romel says, did not y'all understand Dr. Menace says it's going to be a one world order? So we got to open up my eyes and start really, because our children are problems and our generation to come. Okay, I'm not sure I fully understood what you were saying, Romel, but thank you so much for the comment. Clarice says, these are truly serious times. KCX was spot on in his attempt to alert and inform the masses. You know, I thought about KCX as I was preparing for this show, because often he would hit me up after a show and he would say, girl, you're dangerous, you know. And we would have these whatever the topic was I was dealing with. My mind did run across KCX as I prepared for this show. Boy. Clarice says, we are distracted as a people. The diabolic agenda is in full effect, but we are still divided, and some are in hot pursuit for political supremacy, power, money, and greed. Wow. Carlton says, good morning, Ms. Malcolm. The day the Bahamas government declares that if one is not vaccinated, you can't buy or sell, that is the day they have identified the mark of the beast. All right. Let me read one more. This is from Jamila. Many of the laws on the books are used selectively to disenfranchise a certain group. Some people get hauled off to jail while other persons get off scot-free. And Trifina says, got a call coming in. Trifina says, when the law is violating our civil rights, yes. I thought I answered this. How come I didn't answer? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Welcome to GPS.
Yes. Good morning, GPS Live. Michelle, how you doing, ma'am?
Great. How are you?
Super show.
Thank you.
Yahweh Elohim, spirit reigns through my veins, so I'm doing fine. Mm-hmm. And I'm just hoping at the end of your show, so far, your show is off the charts in my view. But if I thought then, the show last week, when you disclosed over 4 million people dying from comorbidities other than
more than 4 million.
Well, when I say comorbidities in the respect to what it was, diabetes, Okay.
Oh, diabetes. Okay.
In respect to diabetes,
Okay.
and then in versus the 2 million plus dying now around the world from this COVID-19. This show then knocked that show ball a little further out of the park. This show ball went a little further out of the park. And let me tell you why I said that, ma'am. I have taken a strong position. I've lost everything. And I told the public, Bahamas public, that I gave it up when I disclosed how I really feel. That's what you do, Bahamas. When you really feel a way, you have to express it. Through expression of my views over the 11 years, okay, I have been placed in prison, all of the police stations, prison, standing for rehabilitation, for evaluation, all kind of nonsense. They'll say what it is. They'll take your children, take your job, they'll violate, contravene, and discriminate, and violate your fundamental human rights. And to them, if you speak up about that, after all of that, if you say A about that, you are now what they call crazy. So I have, after going through all of that, Michelle, I just make up in my mind. I am tired of people calling me crazy, and I'm telling them I'm not crazy. So you know what I started doing, Michelle, with the greatest respect? I started saying, yes, I am crazy. And until the Bahamian people, this country will never change. And then it starts to take on its own spirit after that. You have to speak whatever you desire so it can take on its own spirit. Now, I'm saying these things because the nuclear family of the world is listening. You spoke about how our country were held back by the white minority in the Bahamas. You spoke about the treatment of Nelson Mandela and the fact at the end of the day, after 27 years, after all he went through from by the hand of the Pretoria government, South African government at the time, Mr. Osa, okay? I'm 51, I'm old enough to speak it, and if I desire. So, in the interest of life, Bahamian people life, because they're going after our children now. Okay, my mother and our father generation, I call that the 1948 generation, because my mother's 45. Okay, my grandfather generation, I call that the 1918 generation. This, my generation, is what I would represent the spirit of truth. That's the what you call global technological advancement age. And so when you speak truth, it takes on its own spirit. And so I agree with your first and second clips. Okay, all right. I forgot with the first guy name in the first Peru was correct. Yeah, correct. Okay, he was only saying, if I was able to, and I don't even know nothing about this man, but I'm just saying based on that little clip. Let me tell you, that man is basically an Amos in 2021. An Amos in 2021 is that man. Whatever his name was, whatever, I don't know nothing about him. Only thing I know is what Michelle just showed us on that clip. Now, Yahweh, Elohim, S-U-N, Son, all the natural resources was here before humanity. That's not a lie. Now, if you can throw me in prison because I tell you all that, guess what? Throw me in prison. Yesterday, today. Now, if God, the Yahweh Elohim, created the natural resources for humanity to benefit from, why? Because he have a job for them to do. One job. And that is, after you then use natural resources to take care of yourself, only one thing I require, meaning Yahweh now. Yahweh saying only one thing I require of humanity, and that is to say, hallelujah, thank you, Yahweh Elohim. Thank you, Jesus. And humanity have a problem with that. Well, guess what? If you're going to throw me in sandlands and have me evaluated again in 2021, or prison, or even death, or destruction, chaos and destruction as relates to taking my businesses, from me and my Bahamian people, especially the common people on the universe. If it wasn't for the common people of the world, there would be no universal declaration of human rights. Do you all know that? So without that, you can forget about the Bahamian preamble of 1973. When I finish, it's still ain't gonna be no lie, whether you agree with me or disagree. I am 51, I have 3 children to live for, and I am taking care of my family, meaning Yahweh Elohim now. Okay. Michelle, I'll keep you too longer. That's why the woman couldn't come on, because I born on a Tuesday in 1970. I love you, and I love your show.
Amos consistent, boy, he consistent. You know what you're getting from Amos. Every time he calls, you know exactly what you're getting from him. Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay, I read one more comment and we can take this break. Isaac says, Michelle, this is exactly why we need to get rid of the FNM and PLP administration. They don't have the Bahamian citizens' best interest at heart. We got another call. Hubert Menace said that he will look out for the poor next term. That says it all. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good morning, Michelle. How you doing?
Great. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. That was a lot to process just now. But yeah, really, I guess a lot of people the situation we're all presented with. Mm-hmm. So that's expected. I don't know if you were looking at the headlines today concerning one of the head nurses and their overall stand. We were just talking about it yesterday. Mm-hmm. It seems like the Prime Minister is turning up the heat when it comes down to this vaccination. Mm-hmm. I saw a clip with Ruth Roberts saying that one of the necessities for employment to super value will be vaccination. And it really dawned on me then that, our Prime Minister, he seems like he's getting antsy now. And he's going to resort to some tactics that are going to make it very uncomfortable for us who want to stick to our guns and stay away from this poison.
The John Bahamian people could afford to sit back and do nothing. Then people around the world are like, how about no? We ain't having it. I'm gonna show you throughout this show clips from around the world, because you ain't seen it on mainstream media. They ain't doing a very good job of ignoring what's going on around the world. But people ain't playing. This thing it's anyway. I can let the videos speak for themselves. So y'all could actually see what is happening around the world, because this isn't just happening here in the Bahamas in terms of what they're trying to do. It's like this global narrative, and people are finally saying enough is enough. I'm done with this. And
when is it going to end? When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When, another thing too, my word, the caller that obviously he's been a regular caller. I forgot what his name is.
JT.
Yeah, mentioned about our local situation. Then I guess we'll get back to the international scene. Mm-hmm. And how the media has been suppressing people that have been speaking out, especially across Europe. As I'm sure when you clip
Japan, even Japanese people are very docile and they take into the streets. So that tell you something, because they don't.
That tells you something. That's a humble race.
Yes,
that's a humble people right there.
They are taking to the streets. So
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to show you the clip from Japan as well.
We are too complacent, Michelle.
No, we want the individuals to go out. We want the 20 people to go out and talk for us. We can sit back and say, "Child, you did a good job. Yeah, I appreciate you here." But I can't go out there because my boss might see me, and I need my one job.
That's right. That is correct. We're going to be like the parking park at the back of the house, but intruder coming in through the gate, through the front gate. Mm-hmm. I called in, and I think I mentioned this very fact to you a couple of months ago. I said, one thing about us as Albanian people, if we're able to pay our bills, like for instance, like myself, I'm a man. If I'm able to put gas in my car, I can have a couple of bucks in my pocket when I go to the bar and chill with the boys and whatnot. And we could raise up our drinks in the air on the weekend, and get off and do this and that. If it doesn't affect me, then why should I care? There's a serious level of disunity in this country when it comes to politics. It really has divided us unnecessarily for no apparent reason, because they both want the same, the PLP and the FNM. I mean, all across Facebook, they're calling them the Orange Party now. And it's so sickening, because one party gets in, you get your contract, so you're loyal to them. Other party comes in, you get your contracts, you're loyal to them. All right. And the PLP, for example, has come so far, drifted so far away from the Finland era. You know, they're extremely watered down now. The exact opposite of what Finland was trying to implement when he got into power. You know, it's very, very sad. And when it comes around the contracts and loyal supporters, you know, he was the word loyal very loosely. You know, the humans are not concerned about their fellow man in any degree, any way, shape, or form. If I get a big contract, I'm looking down on you. I'm like the house slave.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
When it came before emancipation, even when emancipation came around, you know, not all the slaves wanted to be free because of the level of power that they held on to and they treasured, which is no power at all. You know, at the end of the day, the master still can't stand you. You're black. You know, and so even in emancipation, and it can be applied to our day too. Okay, we're still economic slaves, and we don't want a chance to free our fellow brothers and sisters. We want a chance to hold the whip.
Wow.
And it's a very sad state of affairs. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, man. So I gotta big up Maria Dox and them, man. You know what I mean? I gotta big them up. I gotta big them up, man. I gotta give them a good shout out.
Right.
I've been watching them for a while. But anyway, I can let you play the video and
I gotta take a break first, though. I gotta play my sponsors commercial. So let's take this quick break. Thank you so much for calling, eh?
All right.
We're going to take this quick break, and then when we come back, we are going all the way to the land down under in Australia, where the Australians are saying, "You've got to be joking." We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy Schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Easy Car Sales, home of the electric vehicle. Visit easy242.com and free yourself from gas.
GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we are talking civil disobedience. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? That is the question we are asking today. And I'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts on the matter. The telephone number to call, 828-3543. 828-3543 is the number to call. And the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543. So, the land down under, you know, where they say, good day, mate. Well, thousands of people took to the street to say, this is not a good day, mate. We're not this anymore. Let's go to that clip.
Freedom! We want 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 freedom!
Now what's your reason?
I'm also announcing the formation of Strike Force Seasoned, which will see 22 detectives work from now until whenever it concludes, identifying as many people as possible who attended today's incident and have them charged. So far, more than 90 infringements have been issued. 57 people have been charged, some of them with multiple offences. What we saw today were 3,500 very selfish bullheads, people that thought that the law didn't apply to them. There is no doubt in my mind that at least one individual there today had COVID. It is statistically impossible for us not to consider that. I'm hoping that we issue 3,500 infringement notices. I'm hoping that we have people before the court, and I really hope we can get some charges and convictions out of today's work by the New South Wales Police. It's essential for people to get the message, and those that are calling for it to occur again next week, look out, because these 400 officers will turn into 4,000 if needs be.
To anyone who feels like what's happening with the COVID restrictions is just completely removed from reality and removed from being in touch with what's on the ground, please know you're not alone. There's a lot of people who agree with you. We're here just to speak and to let our voices be heard and nothing else.
to our radio audience, you obviously couldn't see what the Facebook and YouTube audience are saying, but thousands. We heard the police minister in that clip say 3,500 people. Thousands took to the streets to protest against what they feel is injustice as it relates to these restrictions, which are getting more and more invasive and restrictive as it relates to your civil liberties. And they are just not having it. They're like, no, enough is enough. We're standing for what we believe is right. And it goes back to what the question is on the show today. We're talking about civil disobedience. Is it ever right? Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? Do y'all remember the biblical story of Moses? In the day of Moses, the Pharaoh at the time felt that there were too many babies being born to the children of Israel. And so he decided that, you know what, we're gonna deal with this right now. I'm going to pass a law. I'm going to decree a law that says that any baby boy born in the amongst the Egyptians must be done away with. You got to kill your baby. I mean, clearly that was an unjust law. But this is what the Pharaoh decided that he was going to do. And in their political system, he had the right to just make the law by himself. So he decreed the law. Kill these baby boys. I tired of these people breeding and spreading in my country. And so we can kill off all the boys. Without the boys, you're obviously going to slow down, population. It's population control. That sound familiar? But anyhow, I digress. And so this was the law that was passed in the day of Moses. Now, Moses' mother and father said, you know what? Not my baby boy. We can find a way to keep this child alive because this child is too precious and too beautiful and is a gift from God, and I'm not going to destroy my baby boy. So they did everything that they could to hide him as long as they could. What if they had decided to follow the law because that's what the law said? Me to destroy my baby boy, so I have to destroy the life of this child. What if they had decided to follow the law and be good citizens or good subjects, because they were really slave labor at that time? What if they had decided that's what Pharaoh say, and I ain't going against what Pharaoh say because you got to follow the law of the land? Would the children of Israel have ever been freed from the oppression of the Egyptians? Because Moses, that very boy that was saved, went on to become the one that led them out of captivity. And we all know the story. He was found by Pharaoh's daughter, who had compassion, who decided to adopt him and make him her own. And we know the story, right? But what if Moses' natural mother, biological mother, had decided to follow the law of the land? How would that story have ended? So in that case, would you say that she was right? I would think so. Because sometimes the laws that are passed are not just. And we have to ask the question, are we going to follow this just because it was handed down and that's what is said, or are we going to stand for what we believe is right? That's what the show's about today. The telephone number is 828-3543 to call. 828-3543 is the number to call, and the text line is 828-2543. 828-2543 is the text line. Let me read a couple of your comments, and then we're going to go to another couple of clips. So Clarice says, we need the best of the best in place, as we have to be cautious with our choices at this time. I believe you are right. Romel says, I was saying, Dr. Menace saying it's going to be one world order. We have to open our eyes because it will come a time our generation will be in a lot of problems. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Thank you. you so much. Let's see. Bertha says, only Bahamians get in lockup when they take to the streets. How did we get here? Child, Bertha, that's what happened when you sit back and see wrong and say and do nothing. That's exactly what happens. Because you get them an inch and they take in 10 miles. Jamila says, Lady Malcolm, it has been only a year and a half, and the white people have taken to the streets over this unfair treatment. It's been over 400 years, and we have yet to truly stand up against brutal, unfair treatment. Just for the record, I am not prejudiced. I'm not a prejudiced person. I'm just saying. Wow. Let's see what else we have here. Isaac says, it was wrong then, and it is wrong now. Okay. Bertha says, don't let Pharaoh Menace hear you. He might want to try something. Whatever. Anton says, powerful. Anton, we have to consider these things. Hasheen says, the only true law in existence is the law of nature, which is the actual law of God. All right. I am going to go to another clip. Let's see which one I'm going to play. Let's see. In Italy, let's go to Italy. I want you to go to clip number 8, Marisha. Not 4, clip number 8. Thousands of people took to the streets in Italy. Now, Italians are interesting people because they don't take long to protest. You rub them the wrong way, you best believe they go into the streets. So this isn't the first time that we've seen them. They don't waste time. Just a couple of months ago, they were protesting, I think, some new agreement with the European Union or something. I can't remember all of the details, but they don't hesitate to take to the streets. So it is not surprising to see the kind of turnout that they had in Italy protesting against civil liberties being infringed upon with these COVID restrictions. Let's go to clip number 8. Now, something unique happened in Italy. And what unique happened in Italy, and this would be the number 4 replacement clip I'm going to next, Marisha. What unique happened in Italy is that in the past, when they've had all of these massive demonstrations in Italy, it has turned violent with the police against the protesters. But this time around, we saw something very different happen. This time around, the Italian police decided to side with the protesters. Let's go to that clip, please. Unity with the protesters. They took off their helmets to say, we with y'all. And this is why the protesters were applauding them for taking a stand. Now, they had to do their job. They had to go out there and say they present. But they must have determined amongst themselves, you know what? This affecting us as well. And so they took off their riot gear, their helmets, in a show of solidarity with the protesters. There was another clip that I won't play because it's only about 15 seconds long that I found, shot by, I guess, another protester, showing them the Italian police who had done that actually marching, leading the march. Wow. Isn't this interesting? Because here in the Bahamas in particular, more and more it seems that we have become some kind of police state where police seem to be very eager to cooperate with the ludicrous instructions that they're being given by the authorities. They seem very, very eager to cooperate. And I am wondering whether they understand that people fighting for their rights as well. We have a text that says, Michelle, the law is there to make us free, not enslave us. I want to know, Texter, which law are you talking about? Which law is there to make us free and not enslave us? You're talking about the law in general? Is your point that, because again, I'm not advocating violence. No, because that's not what true civil disobedience is at its core. This is not about doing something foolish like destroying your country as a way of protest. And I'm actually going to show what's going on in South Africa right now, which has degraded to that point. And the protests in South Africa are not COVID related, but I am going to show it because people need to see what I'm not talking about. So I just want to make that very clear. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, Michelle. I had to add this. There's a lot of police. There's not everyone in law enforcement in the Bahamas that agree with these foolish orders coming from the competent authority.
Right.
Not all police are in unison when it comes to this idiotic mandate.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that they're disgruntled and they don't like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The defense force officers accompany them on the regular, and they don't like it either. Okay, they are not saying much because, well, of course, we know the new commissioner of police, he was appointed there. For whatever reason, our good Prime Minister appointed him. I guess I don't want to speculate, we have a rough idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is that the police, there's a lot of police on the force, they don't like the situation they're burdened with.
Right.
We do have a lot of good officers,
Yes.
We do have good police on our police force. Just the bad ones make it hard for them. But as far as that is concerned, you have a lot of police. They don't like the situation they're presented with. I guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't the case, then a lot of them would be vaccinated right now.
Mm.
You see?
I hear you.
They pretty much, a lot of them, a large chunk of them, I don't want to overly with.
Right.
They feel like the nurses feel.
Nurses
Okay.
and doctors, because nurses and doctors about 50% have not been vaccinated.
Well, see, that's just the thing. Who presented us with that percentage? There's a possibility that it'll be a lot more than that.
But even if they're telling us the truth is that and that number is in fact correct, that's a lot.
That is a lot. I saw it live on Facebook today, man. I'm not going to call the name of the person, but he spent like an hour and a half on Facebook on his live talking about what his perceptions are here of late.
Hmm.
And what's one of the things he mentioned because that's a big story in today's paper.
Why? Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
The frontline workers, who are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, why aren't they getting vaccinated? Now, that would have been a big good doctor, Hubert Minnis, wouldn't you say?
You would think.
But he's proven over the last 4.5 years of his office that he cannot be trusted, and he's a bold-faced liar. And they picketed on him and Ross the Square twice. You know, so it's very odd. I mean, the irony is deafening, man. I mean, what's going on here? The PMH is in the house of disarray. You have disgruntled health workers. Your face is framed in the corridor in our national hospitals. It's amazing. I can't fully comprehend this. Like was said by Maria, you'd have thought that the one place that would have been straight was the hospital, PMH. The one place that would have been straight, because our Prime Minister and the doctor would have been Princess Margaret Hospital.
Yeah.
And here we have a large chunk of disgruntled senior nursing staff and doctors who don't trust our Commander-in-Chief, who is a doctor. That's the irony of it all.
Yeah.
Thanks for
calling. Thanks for calling.
You take care.
All right. So the texter is clarifying what they were saying. They're saying the laws that the government has been making as of late are enslaving us. I get your point. All right. We're going to take our final break of the show. And when we come back, we are going to travel as far as Japan and the UK. And then we're going to look at what I don't mean when I'm talking about civil disobedience and being on the wrong side of the law. So stay with us. This is GPS. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
One of the things I love about the Mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons.
With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks.
We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And by BMP Liquidators. High quality furniture and home goods at very reasonable prices. Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. Today we are talking civil disobedience. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side? And we are looking at how people around the world are in the thousands taking to the streets to protest what seems to be a global narrative as it relates to COVID-19 restrictions. And we're now hearing about all over the world where they're talking about health pass and green pass and COVID vaccine passports. And, you know, different countries have different terminologies, but it's all basically the same thing, saying that you will have to provide proof of vaccination in order to enter restaurants or, cultural places or public places. And, I've been saying this for a long time. And, I've been labeled as a conspiracy theorist. But even from when I was back in the other place, I said, the time is going to come when they're going to tell you can't go in the food store unless you have this vaccine. And people are like, Michelle, you running out now. You running out. You really is running with this conspiracy theory. I still running out? Y'all ain't see what time it is yet? Okay, I'm just a little conspiracy theorist. Okay, carry on smartly. I hope the day comes sooner than later when y'all who in deep sleep wake up and see what is going on. This is a serious time we living in. Let me play a couple of your clips. Your comments. So Amos says, the office of the police commissioner is constitutional. He could stand down. He might be replaced. Fact is, he could stand with the Bahama land sovereign citizen sovereignty. Okay. Glenn says, when you look at the systematic dismantling of the police force command, then you can see how easily we can become a police state or police command who feels indebted to the political command. I say this even as one who previously served that honorable organization. And Amos again says, frontline workers exercising their civil disobedience, laugh out loud, GPS live or nothing. All right. Isaac says, the prime minister needs to stop the discrimination and segregation against the Bahamian citizens. He's just following the global narrative. They all agree that that's what they're going to do. Mandy says, let's be fair. The hospital was like this before the FNM. I went to give blood at the hospital under the PLP, and the lab was stinking, untidy, and disgusting. Imagine the place you go to give life is full of mildew and plants growing out of the walls. All right. Let's see. Anton says,
well, they will have limited customers. Yeah. And in some countries, actually, the restaurateurs are also protesting against these restrictions because they know what time it is. So listen, I spoke earlier of the people of Japan. You know, Japanese people are some of the most docile people ever, right? They're very peace-loving people, very docile. When you see the Japanese take it to the streets, now you know it's serious because they don't bother. That ain't their natural being. That's not their nature. But when you see the Japanese people decide, okay, time for us to step up and say enough is enough, this is what that looks like. Let's go to clip number 7.
無意味な感染症対策反対全文目小池百合子のファシズム反対新生活様式反対遺伝子組み換えワクチン反対新生活様式反対遺伝子組み換えワクチン反対大学生を大学に行かせよう大学生を大学に行かせよう
Okay, I don't speak Japanese, but I could translate what they were saying. How about no? You actually saw, for the benefit of those of you listening on radio, you actually saw on that video the banner written in the Japanese language, and then they had the big no written underneath it. So yeah, even the Japanese are saying, yeah, okay, we enough of this foolishness now. This madness has to stop. And I dare say that it will probably only stop if there is a continuous move of what we have, the type of which we've been seeing around the world from the people. The people have to stop this. We cannot rely on our leaders to do the right thing. We cannot. And some listening to me will say, Michelle, you are being ridiculous. They are doing the right thing. These lockdowns are necessary. It has to happen. You know, I just believe that there is so much that we have trying to find the best way I could put this, but much of what is happening does not make sense. It does not add up. 2 and 2 ain't coming up with 4. Case in point. And these new restrictions now that the Prime Minister is the competent authority, is expected to talk about tomorrow evening during his national address. We're going back now where the church, who can only have 33% capacity, also can only now worship for 1 hour. So I need somebody who is keen on defending whatever the competent authority does. Explain to me, how is it that COVID-19 is not going to spread in that first hour if it is in fact in the church? What is the magical point that happens after 60 minutes that all of a sudden the same people who are sitting at capacity, by the way. So in other words, they spread out. This is how it's supposed to be. They're already spread out. It's only a third of the people who could fit in the church are in the church. So they've already spread out. You're assuming if they're following the other protocols, everybody's wearing a mask, they're all sanitizing as they come into the church. All spread out. So what is it about the magic 60 minutes that COVID sits back for the 60 minutes and says, okay, we're not going to spread now because this is still the first hour. But at the 61st minute, all of a sudden COVID gone. Spread. Everybody in church catching COVID now after that 61st minute. Make it make sense. Because you could go anywhere else and spend an hour under the same restrictions And then you could go beyond that hour. And it's not a problem. You only could be in there for an hour. Why? Because I say so. Because as competent authority, I am the law of the land. I make the law of the land. Now, I need one of y'all defenders of the competent authority to please make that make sense for me. Please help me make it make sense. Maybe I just ain't smart enough to figure out the logic behind that. Make it make sense. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So I have seen videos of pastors in Canada, in case y'all say, oh, Michelle, you being ridiculous now. I mean, you know, if you stay a little past an hour, they ain't gonna do nothing. I have seen videos. I wish I had thought to play that in this show today. There is a video that somebody sent me of a pastor who was arrested for holding church with his children. And they lock up the man because they say he violating the emergency order for having church with his wife and children. The same wife and children who live with him in the house where they live. Canada. Not some back of the bush, third world country. Canada. Now, how that makes sense? And don't tell me, oh, Michelle, that's far-fetched. It ain't far-fetched in Canada. And now these people telling you, you only could be in there for an hour because I say so. This ain't got nothing to do with science. You only could be in there for an hour because I say so. And you think you bad? Violate that order. Now, what's to stop the competent authority from waking up tomorrow and deciding you want to cut that back to half an hour? Or 15 minutes. Even though the restrictions are being followed in terms of masks, I can't speak for every church, but I can tell you in my church, I said this just the other day, Bible Truth Ministries, or they taking it dead serious. Seat markings, so you know exactly where you're supposed to stand. Even when it comes to time for communion, they have the marking at the front of the church where they have it marked where you must stand, right? They no longer serve you where you taken out of. No, they have these little individual containers that have the juice and the wafer in one contained thing. Every time somebody goes to that podium when they walk away, they're sanitizing that podium. We following the rules to a T. So why you gonna come to us and tell us now you only can be in there for an hour because I say so? This is ludicrous. And if it is a case that you have churches who are breaking the rules, then go deal with them. This is why I'm asking the question today. Is it ever right to be on the wrong side of the law? Would the churches be wrong if they decided to worship beyond an hour beginning Sunday? Would they be wrong for that? Would those of us who go to church and decide we can be in there for more than an hour, do we deserve to get locked up for that? Or would we be right to be on the wrong side of that law? These are kinds of questions we need to be asking, because every single day they are slowly but surely chipping away at our civil liberties. Bit by bit by bit. And you sitting there because, you know, your party colors, and you ain't saying nothing wrong with it. This is a problem. This is a problem. We really, really need to be clear. I am not talking about civil disobedience to the point where you become violent and destructive. That's not what I'm talking about. And I want to make that clear, because I know some people special and they can try to twist your words. Well, Michelle was on the air trying to encourage people to go break the law. No, that's not what I'm saying. So there's a situation going on in South Africa right now where there is widespread looting because a former president, Zuma, I believe, of South Africa was arrested on charges of corruption and jailed. And people are now protesting and looting, in protest of that. And they've been very stupid, I think, because they burning down businesses and burning down. It's like when they made the announcement in Haiti some months back that they were raising the price of gasoline and the people go on burning down everything. Like, how much sense that make? Because at the end of the day, you only pushing your country further into poverty and despair when you burn down everything. That don't make no sense. Clip happening now in South Africa. Oh, sorry, that would be clip number 5.
Lee Comrie surveys what's left of his parade of shops in Bulwer.
Next door, we have got a group of doctors that had just spent $250,000 setting up a nice practice.
In under 48 hours, every shop in this bustling town was stripped, then torched. A community of 35,000 people now left with no commercial centre.
It was instant. We suspect there were 2 buses busting with organisers that riled up people. As soon as people heard that there was stuff for free, they just came in by the bucky loads.
It's scary. The looting was sparked by the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. It was given momentum by chronic poverty and inequality in South Africa, made worse by the pandemic. We're a couple of hours' drive outside Durban, and it's only when you leave the city that you get a real idea of the scale of the looting, because not a town or village seems to have been left untouched. Outside the furniture store, people queued for taxis to help them carry home the bulky beds and sofas they'd stolen. The store owner, Zahir Abbas, watched from his home across the street, powerless to save his business.
Some of the vehicles are right next to our house loading the things, and we're not able to do anything. Our lives are on the line here. We don't even feel safe.
Zahir, like many business owners, isn't insured. The local police, overwhelmed, stood by and watched. It took a week for the South African government to restore order here in Jacob Zuma's home province of KwaZulu-Natal and in Gauteng. In Bulwer, many people buy what they need day to day.
To get a grocery, you have to travel to Pietermaritzburg, about 8-7 kilometers, or you have to go to Anderbeek. Yes. It's going to affect them severe. As you can see, it's a dead town, it's a ghost town.
With no shops and no post office to withdraw allowances, and with distribution centres also hit by looting, people will likely go hungry. It'll take weeks at best for this town to be able to offer even basic services again.
So there was another video that I saw from South Africa where people are actually online to go in the food store, and they're limiting you only to 15 minutes in the food store, and you can only buy 15 items because there's now a food shortage because of this looting. That ain't what I'm talking about, people. That's not civil disobedience, that's stupidity. Because you breaking up everything and burning down everything and stealing everything, and then what? Then what? I get it that people are frustrated, but that's not what I'm talking about here. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I am saying, though, is that if you have a conviction, if you strongly believe that what is happening is wrong, what you believe in, you have to be willing to take a stand. You cannot just sit back and say somebody else is going to do it while these people chip away at your civil liberties. You have to take a stand. That's all I'm suggesting here. Let me read a couple of comments, and then I'm going to leave you today, once we end the show, with a video from London. And I'll explain that as soon as we come to that. But let me read a couple of your comments before we get out of here. So Isaac says, the Lord knows the hearts of men. This is exactly why the PM had all this misfortune. It was destiny, Michelle. The Lord our God is at work. Mandy says, the magical point is control. Kenley says, y'all ain't know COVID get shift soon as curfew start and end. That's the that's the shit. So Kenley say COVID got shift. They working the night shift, hey, Kenley. That's a good one. William says this don't make no sense when food stores rampant and everywhere else crowded with people. These leaders don't have no common sense. They so dumb and lost. God help us all. Child. My God, my God, my God. One more and then we go into the last clip as I get out of here. I will end with Williams. Williams says Bahamians need to stand up. I don't know what they waiting on. What more have to happen before we stand? Very good question. Okay, let me leave y'all with this. Know that if you have a problem, if you have a conviction in your heart against what is going on, as you would have seen throughout this show, you're not alone in this. You're not alone. But you have to be willing to take a stand. I'm going to leave you this afternoon with this final clip of people in the UK protesting in the thousands, singing the song, You'll Never Walk Alone. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I'll leave you with this clip from London. Have a good one. You don't have it? It's only one left, eh? Okay, that would be that would be clip number 6.